to the Sim Auto Racing Association Super Late Model Series here at Phoenix International Raceway. This is the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series for the Race1.US Copper World Summer Classic here at Phoenix International Raceway. This is a 1 mile unique shaped oval, if you will call it, in Phoenix, USA, where the air temp is a little bit warm at 89 degrees and the track temp is hot and slippery at 116 degrees. With 5-mile-an-hour winds to the northeast. So it should be interesting to watch these guys run around here tonight as they're going to be slipping and sliding. There also was a new patch on these cars, so it's going to be catching some of these guys out on their setups. And we'll have to see what ends up happening with that as these guys are still out here practicing and getting a final few warm-up laps in before we end up going on the grid. But before we get too much in here for tonight, we'll go back and look at last week during the Race1.US qualifying night, where Zach Novak put it on the pole, turned it into the fastest time. Now there was a 7-car invert, which means Tyler Breeding will be bringing the field down to the green flag with Christian Challoner on the outside of him. Bill Martin will be third, David Kikorian fourth, and Tim Bills fifth. And we'll show the full lineup here in just a moment to give everyone the rundown and where everyone's going to be starting at. Now Monday night, here at the Sim Auto Racing Association, they do have 4 nights of racing, and on Monday nights is the dirt night for the midgets and UMP modifieds. Midgets were out doing battle at Lima Land Speedway, where Keith Jeffrey came away with his second career SARA win, leading 49 laps. He started third. Derek Robinson finished second, Clay Snyder third, David Bodio fourth, and David Kikorian was fifth. Currently, the overall points lead is tied between Clay Snyder and David Kikorian, with Matt Rolfe in third. Tuesday night was the Callaway Investment Sportsman Series, but they had a little Triple Crown going on there at Stafford Speedway with the Tour Mods, where Tom Majeski came away with the win there, leading 83 laps. David Bodio was second, and Connor Blaze was third. Last night in the Contender Series, there was 2 splits in that field for the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series with these super late models that you're seeing here. Raced at Phoenix International Raceway, same conditions and everything as you're seeing, just 100 laps instead of the 150 that we're going to have here tonight. Dallas Mataska ended up winning his split there. Ryan Doucette finished in second, Dante Curtis finished third. In the other split, Tyler Price came away with the victory, leading all 100 laps in a dominating performance. Evan Sorensen finished second, and Ian Lane finished third. For the Contender Series in the points, Evan Sorensen is currently winning by 3 points over Daniel Williamson. Ryan Doucette is third. Gareth Gonder is tied for third, and Dallas Mataska is fifth. Like I said, for tonight, for the Copper World Summer Classic, we're doing 150 laps of action here for the Sim Marketing Solutions. And for the Sim Marketing Solutions, they are a series sponsor to hop on board with us this year. And, Sims Marketing Solutions introduces real-world sponsors to sim racers and works with them to ensure that they receive maximum benefit for their exposure to the sim racing community. So definitely go check those guys out if you're looking to get into that type of field. And thanks for them hopping on board for the series sponsor this year. Now, we do have some basic rules for tonight. Like I said, it's 150 laps. Here at Sim Auto Racing Association, usually we do not do tire races. But for this special Summer Classic, there will be 1 extra set of tires that guys can have at any point in time that they would like. It's also an open setup league. So there's no fixed sets or anything here. You work on what you got, and you try to make the car faster however you can. We also have a gentleman's rule. Basically, drivers are encouraged to claim fault for any cautions that they may have caused and will be given an end-of-the-line penalty during the race. Now, if you do not claim a caution during the race and the admins go back and watch the race and deem it was your fault, will be put in the longest line for at the end of the results. So it's always best to go ahead and try to claim that. Now, also, we'll have a Heinz Pride head-to-head throwdown here. Basically, a random row on the grid was drawn before the race. And row 5 was the row before the grid, and that's Jimmy Mullis versus Zach Novak teammates. And basically, whoever finishes ahead of who will get a little extra prize money towards the tail end of it. And we'll have to keep an eye on those 2 guys and see who comes away with that portion of it. Currently, Dallas Mataska is your fastest one in practice, with Christian Challoner and Tyler Price round out your top 3. And what I'd like to do is go ahead and bring in our series admin, Matt Rolfe, and speak with him. He's currently 10th on the practice board at a 28.59. You're currently first, is like I said, is Dal Taska at a 28.51, so super close. But Matt, thanks for joining us up here into the booth. Went ahead and went over some of the rules here for tonight and also with the head-to-head throwdown. But before we get into your admin, take your admin hat off. Let's go put your driver hat on. You're currently 10th on the practice boards. There was a patch that came out here today for these cars. So what kind of threw you for the curve for the patch, or what do you look forward to for tonight in your car?
I'm not sure, to be honest. You know, last week we talked about it quite a bit on qualifying night, that the new build kind of threw everybody for a loop and trying to figure out what these new cars need. And we've had it out for a week or so, and then they came out with another patch today to change some more things. So just as people were starting to figure it out, they got to kind of tweak some more things and figure it out once again. So car seems to be decent on speed. Not really sure how it's going to hold up over the course of 150 laps. Only one way to find out here tonight, but I know you ran a similar setup last night and ran pretty decent with it and made a couple changes to it, so it should be alright tonight. Kind of going to just take my time for a while. It's a long race. I don't plan on forcing the issue or doing too much early on. Just going to settle in and see what happens.
And I spoke to, that we have an extra set of tires here tonight. The Sim Auto Racing Association doesn't usually do that. So with that being said, what kind of strategy do you think is going to play out with the tires? Do you think we're going to see any green flag pit stops? Because we know we can't make it on a fuel tank of fuel with 22 laps or 22 gallons in these tanks of cars.
Yeah, it really depends on how the green flag runs play out. I think if we have a long green flag run early on, but we get a caution, around lap 50 or so, you might see guys in the back of the pack come down and take fuel early just to get that out of the way. But I think the tire strategy will be trying to wait till after lap 100 sometimes. Seems to be the way that strategy usually plays out. But it all depends on where you are in the track and how much you've already burnt your stuff off. Some guys might try to change it up just to get track position and race it out from there.
Well, it's definitely something we will watch and see how it ends up playing out. And put your admin hat back on for me. Last night, the races were kind of wild. They were a little calm in the beginning, got wild a little bit later on. Now, with this being the invite-only series, the caliber of drivers are typically just a little bit higher. That's what the Contender Series is for. So what kind of, race pace or what kind of race do you think we will see here tonight?
Yeah, hopefully, kind of like last night, we kind of started off nice and easy and kind of just settle in for a while. I know as the race goes on, it gets harder and harder to be patient. But as the race goes on, your tires are also worn out and the track is pretty slick, so you kind of have to balance on how aggressive you can be versus overdriving the thing. So then when you get the tires back on around lap 100, so when you get fresh tires on there, things change again. So it's going to be, it's going to, go up and down a little bit as far as the aggression here, but hopefully we can settle in for a while and just get some laps under our belts.
Well, we got about a minute and a half here left in this practice session, so we'll get you on your way. But before we do, you want to give anyone any shout-outs?
Yeah, just got to thank our sponsors here tonight, Sim Marketing Solutions, for sponsoring the series. Big thanks to them, not only for that, but for adding some purse money here tonight, up for grabs. And then Race1.us, they are a full-service apparel printing and design entity. They do custom orders, and they do some design work for some other things as well. So definitely check them out. Their website is just as the logo says, race1.us. They're going to have some sales coming up this weekend, and look for their logos on a few cars here tonight, including mine. So I've got them on board. So big thanks to them.
All right, bud. Well, good luck to you here tonight, and maybe we'll be speaking to you a little bit later on in Victory Lane.
Thanks. See you.
All right, that was our series admin, and Matt Rolfe. Like I said, he's out here each and every Thursday night, trying to do his best to put it on top of the box, just like all these other guys. But like I said, he also races in the other 3 nights as well, or he doesn't race on the Wednesday night, but he does admin that. So, big thanks to him for everything that he does. We'll go ahead and bring up the series sponsors here for the SARA partners. Give everyone a shout out in their due, because without these guys, we cannot do what we do here as far as putting up purse money and everything else that goes along, especially like the head-to-head throwdown. Big thanks to Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors the series here on Thursday nights at the invite only for the Super Series. The Davis Chassis Works, who sponsors the Contender Series on Wednesday nights. Hides Pride Leather and Sheepskin. Midwest Power Source. Callaway Investments, longtime SARA sponsor there for the Tuesday night Street Stock Series. Race1.us, who's a sponsor here tonight. Canadian Rail Serve. The Hub used racing giveaways. Lokotoko Designs, Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series. If you're looking for a fixed series, they're a good series there. And East-West Modifieds. See the grid lining up, or excuse me, see the cars gridding up, as I should say. We'll go ahead and bring up the grid. Go ahead and go through the starting lineup. Starting on the pole here tonight is Tyler Breeding. Like I said, there was a 7-car invert, so he can click qualified 7th. But he is starting on the pole here tonight. Christian Challenger on the outside of him. Dr. Noise himself, Bill Martin, starting 3rd, with EK David Kokori in 4th. Tim Bills is 5th. Dallas Mataska, who won last night and was fast here again in practice, is starting 6th. Jim Caudell Jr. 7th. Jimmy Mullis, which is last season's series champion, is starting 8th. Zach Novak, who is last week's winner and the pole sitter for this, is starting 9th. And 10th is 3-time series champion Joe Schaefer Jr. Starting 11th is Cameron Hamilton. Outside of him is Keith Medeiros. 13th is Ryan Matthews, and as we just got done speaking with, starting 14th is Matt Rolfe. 15th is Ty Spearman. 16th, Adam Benefield. 17th, Trevor Edwards. 18th, Jason Tarasenko. 19th, Samuel Roush. 20th, Ian Lane. 21st, Jason Miller. 22nd, Michael Goddard. 23rd, AJ Rogers. 24th, Drew Kryback. 25th, Matthew Eddy. 26th, Donald Clark. 27th, Russell Berry. 28th, Tyler Price. And 29th is Mark Royer. Like I said, it will be on Tyler Breeding here, taking the field down to the green, as we'll be getting the green here. And, you know, these cars got a lot of power with skinny tires on them. It should be an issue right now on this early start, but I do know that yesterday in the Contender Series, the guys were spinning their tires on the restarts. We'll see what Tyler Breeding does here as the pace car pulls off.
Green, green, green.
But we are green, green, green. Tyler Price gets off to a great start as he head down into 1 and 2. Challenger's going to follow in behind him. Bill Martin and DK going to figure it out coming out of 2. Looks like DK is going to get the advantage there as the whole field is starting to be double file behind them. As we're completing lap 1 here. Not a lot has changed up here into the top 10. Everyone's just trying to get a feel for what they have. Probably not to try to use up too much stuff. Now, like we stated, they do have an extra set of tires, so you may see some comers and goers as people are going to play the strategy out. We do know we're going to need fuel one way or the other. So depending on how the cautions fall, you know, you may see some guys trying to save some fuel so they can have a shorter pit stop, or they may go like hell and just try to get through the front. Track position is key. Now, before the patch came out, I will say that a lot of guys were having a hard time passing here. You know, if you could at least hang out on the outside, you can hold off the guy on the inside. So with the new patch, that may have helped with that as far as in passing. It's really hard to say, being it just came out. But it looks like Tyler Breeding is getting a mirror of Christian Challenger currently. They're coming out turn 3. Challenger's got a good run on him. Turn 4, excuse me, down the front stretch. He's going to show his nose going into 1 as they're side by side for the lead. This is what I was speaking of earlier. If you can at least get off the turn pretty good, or at least through the center and off the turn, you can defend from the bottom extremely well. And it looks like what Tyler Breeding did there. Just behind them is Bill Martin and David Kokorian battling out for 3rd. Bill Martin's going to get the better of him. Here comes Dallas Mataska, who's fastest in practice. And like I said, he won last night as well. Mataska's showing some really good speed. Mataska may end up finding his way up here in this series permanently and not being able to race in the Wednesday night Contender Series League. Basically, that league is set up to for the guys to get more extra lap. Oh, and there's a wreck with Tyler Breeding. The leader spinning. Not sure what happened there. We'll definitely have to go back and watch that and see what happened. Go back and watch this replay. Now, Challenger's behind him. I don't think he may have gotten into him, but they were outside of the viewing screen. But on my screen, it looked like that they had, I'm probably going to be wrong here. They go down into 3, and there's a slight contact as Challenger gets into Breeding. I don't think Breeding's hurt too bad. as I say that, oh man, there's everyone is just barely missing him. Not too sure what they were seeing, or some of these drivers are just getting down low. That's a tough break for Breeding. Not too sure if Christian's going to claim that one or not. We'll have to pay attention. But Breeding should be able to go down pit road and get that fixed. And I think he may be okay here, but it's going to be a tough battle getting his way back up to the front, as he had track position as he was out front. Typically not what you see here in the Sim Auto Racing Association as far as the leaders getting into it, but it's hard, fast racing early on, as track position is king as these tires start to wear off just a little bit. Christian Challoner still staying up front, so he might, nope, he's taking the EOL here. Taking claim on that, so it's good on him for owning up to that. It's still early as we're on lap 7 of 150. That's going to put Bill Martin up front. We'll see what Dr. Noyce here has with his team posse. Only Channel Racing number 39. Good looking throwback he has there. So early on, first caution. Everyone's still trying to get it figured out. And had some good racing going on. Now, Tyler Price is probably going to be a little bit mad for 2 reasons. One, he got taken out, but 2, he knocked the ball a little bit out too and gave Challoner just a reason to get under him. So Challoner didn't necessarily earn the spot, but fortunes had it and they end up wrecking. We'll see if they're able to make their way back up to the front through pit strategy or just being right out fast. But we are 1 to go here, and the restart will be on Bill Martin. And basically with the Sim Auto Racing Association, you have to wait until the pace car is off the racing surface, has 4 tires completely off the racing surface, and then Bill Martin can decide when to restart from there until the actual green flag is thrown out. As we're about to see the pace car peel off here. We are back to green, green, green. Good restart by Bill Martin. He's going to pull up there in front of Pataska. Jimmy Mullis gets off to a great restart as well, as he's going to be under Pataska as they battle side by side through 1 and 2. Coming out of 2, looks like Mullis is going to at least hang right there along the door of Pataska, as they're going to go side by side in 3. Right now, I think the bottom to maybe about a half lane up is going to be your fastest way around. But if Pataska can hang on the left rear of Jimmy Mullis there in the 40, which he's doing so far, he might be able to pull this out for 2nd place. As David Kokorian was right behind them, just watching all this happen. They're still side by side. They're about single file all the way back through about 14th or 15th. Now you heard what Matt Rolfe said, how he was going to take it easier here for at least the first 50 laps or so. And, you know, maybe other guys that are doing the same, but Dallas Pataska is not one of them. He's trying his darndest to get around Mullis here as he starts to pull him down the front stretch just a little bit as they get into 1. Mullis is probably going to fall in behind Pataska right here, depending on how Pataska gets out of 2. Pataska barely scrapes the wall. No harm, no foul. He is going to pull into 2nd place. So Pataska's showing some strength here early on in this race. Like I said, he was fast last night, but then the patch came out, so changed the setup. And he was able to pick up right where he left off from last night, put it on top of the board in practice, and here he is, P2, running down P1. Oh, another caution here. Our 2nd caution of the night. Looks like it was the 21 car of Jason Tarasenko. We'll have to go back and see what happened with him there. Go back to the SARA TV instant replay. Downer's behind him again. Let's hope it didn't make it 2 for 2. Come down the front stretch. Matthew Eddy's on the outside. Oh, Eddy gets loose out of 4, and just hooks Jason Tarasenko into the wall. Matt Eddy's one of the cleaner racers, if not the cleanest racer out here, so that was just an accident. And it's an unfortunate break there for Jason Tarasenko and his Dynamic Auto Sports Corvette super late model there. So he'll be going down pit road to get that damage fixed, as he's got a lot of front end damage. And that's going to hurt his chances here tonight for running well. So 2 quick cautions. It's complete opposite of what it was last night. Last night in the Contender Series, like I said, it was 100 laps, so it's 50 laps shorter than what it is here tonight. And about the first half or so, there was only like 1 caution for the first 50, 60 laps. And then after that, it was a caution fest as guys were beating and banging on each other. But here tonight, it's been the opposite, as we've had 2 quick cautions here, 2 lead changes. Bill Martin still leading the way. Dallas Pataska's second. Jimmy Mullis is third. David Krikorian's fourth. And Jim Caudell Jr. is rounding out your top 5. But there are some fast guys behind those front 5. You got Zach Novak, who's your pole sitter, who set fast time in the qualifying night last week. And he won 2 weeks ago, excuse me. Joe Schaefer Jr., Tim Bills, and already a winner this year in Ron Matthews in 11th as well. So some guys to watch out for, see if they're able to make their way up into the top 5. Bill Martin's led 7 laps here tonight. It'll be 8 once across the line. Hopefully they'll be getting 1 to go so we can get the racing back underway. Yep, pace car lights are off. 1 to go. Restart be back on Bill Martin. If you're Jimmy Mullis, you're probably going to try the same thing on Pataska again. You're going to at least make him work for it. Make him use up his stuff, and maybe you can get around him this go around. We'll see how that ends up playing out. You got David Krikorian just behind them, or just on the outside of Mullis, should I say, in the 66 Exalta car. Now, luckily, we've had a couple of cautions, early cautions here. See if we can get some green flag racing in. Get some good side-by-side racing in at that. Get a long stretch. We may be able to see a green flag pit stop, which I don't know how many people have practiced it. I practiced it last night and it didn't play out, but that's the way it goes. We were green, green, green. Bill Martin spins the tires a little bit, has to check up. Dallas Pataska's going to get a good run. They're going to be side-by-side as they go down in 1 and 2. The whole field is double foul. Pataska throws it down into 1. It's a good drive off 2. We got a new leader in 57 car, Dallas Pataska. The whole field's all over each other. It's a double foul as Bill Martin did not get off to the restart that he wanted. And he's going to fall in line in second. Pushes up the track a little bit in front of David Krikorian and Jimmy Mullis. They're side by side behind them, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows deep. What a great restart by Dallas Pataska. One prior to that, he fought hard to get in second place over Jimmy Mullis, and now you see why he fought so hard, knowing that if he got a good restart, he could get around Bill Martin on the outside in 1 and 2, which he did. And he's leading the way. Now, if you're Bill Martin, we'll see how much strength he has in this car and see if he's able to at least keep with Dallas Pataska or maybe even running down and passing. Just behind them, Joe Caudell Jr. and Zach Novak are side by side. Zach Novak's trying to battle into the top 5. He's got a good run on Jim Caudell Jr. as they head down the backstretch. Now, this is the old layout for anyone that may or may not know. This is the 2008 version, so it's rough, less grip, and we chose this version for that reason. Makes it a little bit harder to drive, get a little bit better racing with it as well. As Jim Caudell Jr. still holding strong as they go down into 1. Novak creeps up to the right rear just a little bit, coming out of 2. Got close to that outside wall. He may even scraped it. He's going to pull in behind Jim Caudell Jr. But good for him in the 1 car in his C&J's energy service. Ford Fusion. Jim Caudell Jr. is not going to waste any time. He's going to try to run down David Krikorian here for 4th. Move on back just a little bit more. You got Adam Benfield Cameron Hamilton and Keith Meteros here battling for the 9th place position. Ryan Matthews is just behind them as well. Keith Meteros down there on the apron. If you do that, it will de-wedge the car and get loose on you, and that's probably the last thing you want with these super late models in this new build. Especially at this fast track. They may work out some of the bull rings, which we typically go to. But here, that's not what you want. As you see Ryan Matthews get around him on the outside, so he lost a lot of momentum in doing that. He probably won't do it again as Cameron Hamilton's caught up now to the rear end of Tim Bills. Going back here a little bit more to our series admin and Matt Rolfe, currently in 17th. Got Jason Miller on the outside of him as they're battling for the 17th position. Got some good battles back here. There's Christian Challoner as he's working his way back up to the front. Tyler Price behind him as Donald Clark and Price get into it. Clark gets a little sideways. He's still chasing it down on the apron. Good save by Donald Clark. He's still loose. Good save by him. Unfortunate break there, but Tyler Price said the green flag was out. He had to go as he sees Christian Challoner, or not Tyler Price, excuse me, Tyler Breeding. Now guys are starting to get a little bit strung out, finding their way around the track and just calming down, getting some laps in, trying to make some moves to work their way up to the front. As Dallas Pataska has a half-second lead over Bill Martin. And Jimmy Mollison, and it's about 1.2 seconds back to Jim Caudell Jr. Now, if you're interested in racing, you're wondering how you can get into this series, there's one way only. You go to SimAutoRacingAssociation.com, or excuse me, go to RaceSarah.com or go to Sim Auto Racing Association on Facebook. You sign up for it. From there, you will not go directly into this series. You'll go into the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series. If you prove your merit there, like Dallas Pataska has done, where he has won 2 or 3 times so far this year, you will get the invite up to the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series, and you'll be able to race with the likes of Dallas Pataska, Jimmy Mullis, Joe Schaefer Jr., David Kikorian, Christian Challoner, and others, and see how you can do up here. But first, you have to prove that you can run clean, run up front, and then you'll get the invite to the Sim Marketing Super Sim Series. Now, if you don't want to race in super late models, like I said, they do have the Monday Night Dirt Series, and that's a fun series there. Or you can do the Tuesday Night Street Stock Series as well. And like I said, they'll run the SK mods or the Tour mods, one of those two, as for a little Triple Crown deal. And then on Monday nights is with the midgets and UMPs. They switch week from week. And you can come out there. It's all open setup stuff. And on Monday nights, I know for sure that myself and others will share sets if you ask. It's not a big deal, because we just want to get some participation out there and have a little fun in the dirt. Go ahead and see if maybe we can hop on board here with the 40 car of Jimmy Mullis. Do a couple laps around here around Phoenix. See what it looks like. To go down into one, you see Bill Martin go up just a little bit as the track's starting to widen out. And Mullis is staying down low. They go down here into the dog leg down the back. They haul off into 3 where it really flattens out, especially compared to 1 and 2. Really got to get the car to roll through this turn. You want it to cut about right there. Stay down that yellow or that white dotted line and floor it off. He's got a mirror full of Jim Caudell Jr. and he's got a windshield full of Bill Martin. Now with this new build for the super late models, there's a little bit less lateral grip There's not as much grip as there was last build right through this part, but it has more power, and you got to worry about drive off, so the cars can get a little loose from late exit off. And well, you get down into 1 and 2 here, get in the center. You really want to get back into gas, and it's probably not too bad right now. We're on lap 31 at 150, but once we get closer to halfway, you're going to be pushing on the gas pedal like there's an eggshell underneath it, where the car will get out from under you. As Mullis gets through 3 and 4 extremely well. He's got Bill Martin just on the outside of him. That's some close racing coming out of 4. He's got a decent run on him down the front stretch. He's going to throw it down in here. So is Bill Martin. Who gets a better drive through the center and out. Martin's going to come away with it a little bit. He's going to have the momentum off the top. That's how you do it right there if you want to defend. Make sure your car can roll through the center extremely well, and you can defend from there on out. Because these guys are still battling. Meanwhile, Dallas Pataska's pulled out to about an 0.8 of a second lead, so he's not stringing it out too far. But he is slowly pulling away from these guys behind him. Now, if you're Dallas Pataska, I don't know if you're going all out or not, or if you're just maybe going 0.8, or I doubt he's going 0.10, but these guys behind him look like they're going just full bore. Thinking into your picture there is a 15 car, Zach Novak, because we do have a caution. Oh, it looks like Tyler Breeding may be back in this one once again. He's having a rough go of it. Ian Lane's in it. AJ Rogers, who just cannot catch a break this season. Go back and watch the replay here on the SARA TV Instant Replay. He has AJ Rogers just in front of him, so there may be between these two. As you see, Drew Kryback just a little bit loose there in front of him in the 12 car. Breeding gets, oh, not too sure what that was all about. But Breeding and Rogers and Ian Lane had nowhere to go. He had stuffed crust pizza on that one. Just shoved it right up into the 25 car, Tyler Breeding, AJ Rogers. I'm not too sure what happened with that, or if Breeding's going to go ahead and park it. He's had a rough night there. And AJ Rogers has had bad luck, it seems like, all season, as he got clipped and taken out. I'm not too sure if they had something prior to that went down, or if Breeding just misjudged that, or maybe he even got loose as soon as he went to go left past Rogers and just clipped Rogers and took them both out. So, pretty wild what happened there. But we'll go back up front to Dallas Pataska. Still early, lap 36 of 150. I doubt anyone pits. There may be some guys in the back that pit for fuel. Just go ahead and do that. Maybe make some changes as far as the wedge goes. May even take some tape off, but I highly doubt it, as the majority of people, if not everyone, runs 50% tape at all times with these cars. But Dallas Pataska has led 20 laps here so far. Still a long way to go, but he just seen his almost 1 second lead shrink down, and you got Bill Martin that's in second now. We'll have to watch it here once again on this restart and see if anyone spins their tires like Bill Martin did. I mean, it's early in the race, and the guys are still spinning it. They're spinning the rear tires, so you got to be real delicate with the throttle, and it picks up. It almost feels like, if anybody's ever driven a turbo car before, it really kicks in right around $6,000 and on up. Before that, you can pretty much be flat-footed on these things, but as soon as it gets about $6,000 or so up there in the top portion of the power band, the power really kicks in and it'll break the tires loose. Like the lights are still flashing here. While we're under caution here, one of our series regulars isn't here tonight. He is currently, him and his wife had their child. It was Daryl Hamlin. So congratulations to him and his wife on their baby girl that was born this morning. Baby and mama are doing quite fine. Both of them are quite healthy. So congratulations to him and to them. And hopefully we maybe see him back in the next handful of weeks, depending on what his schedule may look like as far as the baby goes. But congratulations to them. And, you know, if one of these T4X guys out here can get a win, I'm sure they'll dedicate it to him, to his newborn baby. So congratulations to him. It's pretty exciting stuff. Now, just in case you didn't know, this is SARA TV. You're watching the Sim Auto Racing Association for the Super Sim, or for the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Sim Series. I'm your host, Eric Robinson, and producer Clay Snyder. We do this week in, week out here for this series. So that way you can see the top super late model drivers do battle each week at mainly short tracks. We got a big track here for tonight for the Copper World Classic. But you know, feel free to join us. Hit that follow button, notification button on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, go to Sim Auto Racing Association. Hit that like button, follow it. We'll send out links to the broadcast. Come back with us every night. As we're about to come back to the green flag, pace car is going to pull off. It's on Dallas Pataska at this point. Pace car is off. We are green, green, green. Pataska gets off to a good start. Martin is loose. And it's going 3 wide behind him, smacks it off the wall. He's okay, and luckily he's got his posse teammate that he fell right in front of there, and Joe Schaefer Jr. Joe gives him a break. That's what I was talking about. You know, with these restarts and these cars, you got to be careful on the restart. You just cannot floor them. And that's what Martin did. He got lucky. He's just kind of smacked the wall a little bit. The car does not look hurt. It's going to fall into 5th. These restarts are wild, and there is time and positions to be made up. That's not exactly how you want to lose spots. You do not want to give them away like that. As you see Joe Schaefer Jr. in his throwback number 6 Valvoline car, good looking car there. Cameron Hamilton's made his way up to 8th. Ron Matthews is 9th, and Benenfield is going to round out your top 10. Meanwhile, up front, Jimmy Mullis is stalking Dallas Pataska. We'll see if Mullis is able to keep pace with Pataska or potentially even run him down, as Pataska did pull away from them on that little bit longer green flag run. Go down to 3 and 4, and Mullis is still hugging that bottom line. He's going to get a good drive out of 4 here. Pataska still pulls him now. The gearing may be a little bit different between these cars as well. Pataska may have a little bit longer legs on his, not hitting the chip as much as Mullis, or vice versa. Just judging. Yeah, Mullis throws it down into 3. Gets that car is getting in and rotating extremely well. Showing his nose out of 4. He may have a run on him going down into 1, pulls in behind him. He's looking to get around Pataska. Pataska moves up lane, trying to find more grip. He's going to be able to get the shot off, maybe. As they're side by side, Mullis is battling here for the lead in typical fashion. If he gets out front, good luck passing him, as it doesn't happen too often once he finds the lead. He's stunk up some shows before, and he's led every lap in some long races. And, you know, he's a pro for a reason. As they're coming out at 4, Pataska's still going to pull him. It looks like Pataska does have a little bit longer legs on the car than Mullis does, and that's going to benefit Pataska early on as this race goes on. It's going to be, you know, you're going to want that gear in it to get off the turns as tires start to give away a little bit. Great battle here for the lead. And this is going to bring in Zach Novak here behind him as these guys battle it out. Now, Novak and Mullis are teammates, and as I said, this is the Hyde's Pride's head-to-head throwdown challenge that we have to pay attention to between these two guys, between Mullis and Novak, as they are teammates, but they're also trying to win a little extra money on the side here for tonight. Mullis has got the better of him currently, but Zach Novak is running them down as we have a new leader in the 40 car, and it's Jimmy Mullis. We'll see what he does here, see if he's able to pull away from these, from Pataska any. As Pataska is starting to get a mirror full of Mullis and Jim Caudell Jr. Just into frame is the 6 car, and Joe Schaefer Jr. in the posse stable. See if he's able to run down these guys as well. Looks like Mullis has already pulled out to almost the quarter of a second here lead, almost 0.3 of a second. As this car is hooked up. Working lap 47 of 150, and Jimmy Mullis is going to look to the inside of Dallas Pataska here for second. He's got some great battling up front. Zach Novak was last week's pole sitter for this race due to the 7-car invert. He ended up starting 7th. Made his way up here to 3rd. Currently, in the week prior to that, he'd won as well, picking up his first SARA victory just a couple of weeks ago at New Smyrna Speedway. These guys are running nose to tail, and you know, it's got a different look than what it had for yesterday. Yesterday you had groups of guys. You had 3 or 4 guys out front maintaining pace, and then a couple seconds off of that, you know, there was another group and so forth. Here tonight you got a second from 1st to 6th, and then it's a second and a half from 7th, and then pretty much a second after that it kind of drops off. But the first 6 cars here have kind of pulled away nose to tail. Long little draft it seems like that they have going. But your leader here is Jimmy Mullis. He's out of Midland, North Carolina. And it's JDR Graphics, JDR MY Lockdown Racing, and the Chaos Crews who he's racing for. Billiken car. Pataska's out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. A bunch of Wisconsin drivers in this league. Jim Caudell Jr. gets a good run out of 3 on Zach Novak. Not able to do anything with it. Pataska's running a different line than everyone else up here in this top 5 and 6, pretty much through the top 10. Now he's about as high as you would probably be willing to go, especially into 1 and 2. 3 and 4, he's up a little bit as well, but not this time. Now he's about a half lane. Let's watch him and see what he does here going back down into 2 once again, or 1 and 2. He's up a good 3 lanes when he gets in, and he's just looking for a little bit cooler part of the track. As I say that, he doesn't do it, so that's convenient. That's how it works out. If you're the announcer, they don't do what you say to look for. But he is trying to find grip. He's searching all around as Mullis is pulling away just the least little bit. He was only 200s faster than Pataska last lap. Not talking a lot. And don't look now. Back here in 9th place. That's a 78 car Christian Challoner. He was our first caution, calls the first caution, took the end of the line penalty in claiming it. Went all the way to the back. Worked his way all the way back up to the top 10. So he's obviously got a solid piece under him, as he was one of the faster cars that last lap, running a 29.44. The unfortunate part, our leader was just a shade faster than him. But he's back here in the dirty air, if you will. Further he gets to the front, faster the car will probably go. Go back here for the 22nd spot. Got Russell Berry and Tim Bills battling it out. Tim Bills is out of Sturgis, Kentucky. Russell Berry's out of Hays, Kansas. Both these guys have been around the Sim Auto Racing Association for years. And we're doing battling here, trying to get into the top 20 as Trevor Edwards, just a shade in front of them. Trevor Edwards out of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. He's technically about 5 minutes down the road from me. Well, if he ever does anything wrong, I can go down there and smack him around a little bit. As the top 10 is about 2.5 seconds from 1st to 10th. Pretty close, all things considering. We got a good long green flag run working here as we're on lap 56 of 150. You can go We've had a couple of cautions. These guys can probably go to lap 90-ish or so on fuel. Maybe to 100. But no, if this thing stays green, we're going to have green flag pit stops, and it's going to be the most interesting thing that we're probably going to watch up to the point all night, because these things are kind of hard to get woed down, and I'm not too sure how many people practice the practice pit stops, green flag pit stops. Is Jim Caudell Jr. side by side here with Zach Novak as I'm mumbling on. He's battling for third, and they got Pataska right in front of him. Jim Caudell Jr. a little loose out of 4. Throws down into 1. You got Joe Schaefer Jr. just behind them. So you have a great battle here pretty much for third. Jim Caudell Jr. is out of Whitesburg, Kentucky. Got all kinds of Kentucky guys in here between Kentucky and probably Wisconsin, your top 2 states that show up here for the Sim Auto Racing Association. Caudell Jr. is down low, and he's got that car eating down on the bottom. It looks good as he is currently officially P3rd, crossing the line there. Coming out of turn 2, he noses ahead a little bit, but Novak still staying strong on the outside. They go back down into 3. Caudell Jr. throws it in there until he's seen Elvis. Made it stick. Number 1 car up to P3, looking for more as Dallas Pataska's just in front of him. Just behind them is the 83 car, Adam Benenfield. He just got around Ryan Matthews for 7th place. He's working his way up to the front. It's go time. As everyone knows that they're probably need to try to get as much as they can, because pit stops will be coming up here before too long. Some guys may be taking tires. Some of them may sit on it for as long as they can. But you got Joe Schaefer Jr. up here getting around Zach Novak for 4th. Zach Novak's going the wrong direction. We got some good battles up here in the top 10 all over the place. There's a good little showing that's going on right now. And it looks like the outside is starting to become a little bit of the faster way around, as Cameron Hamilton is starting to look on the outside with a great run. A crossover move on Zach Novak. Is he able to show his nose? He's going down into turn 1. Cameron Hamilton battling up here, trying to get into the top 5 himself in the 10 car. It's a little loose. He's in there swatting bees. If you can see his hands. Comes up on Zach Novak. Novak's going to hold the position currently. Cameron Hamilton isn't done, but neither is Adam Benenfield. He's going to look around, trying to look around. Cameron Hamilton's got a sight set on Zach Novak if at all possible. And just out of camera while we were watching these guys, Jim Caudell Jr. got around Dallas Pataska for 2nd. Jim Caudell Jr. is making his way up to 2nd place, looking to run down Jimmy Mullis, who has a 1.5 second lead over this group of cars that we're currently watching. I mean, you pretty much can almost get in a view from 2nd all the way back to 12th. There's about a 1.5 seconds that's separating 10 cars there. They're all blanking all over him as Dallas Pataska now is heading in the wrong direction. Looks like Zach Novak's got his groove back, and he's going to get around Pataska here. Schaefer is starting to work his way up to the front as well. Then everyone's starting to migrate higher and higher as this green flag run continues on, as we've had 4 lead changes for 3 cautions. Christian Challenger there in the 78 car has made his way up to 8. He's got the fastest lap of the race at a 28.58. And we are side by side here for, what is that, for 5th? Yep. For 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I mean, this is great racing here. I mean, with the patch, I do know it. To me, it felt like it gave a little bit more filling to the left front, more so than when it already did. As Benenfield throws it down in there, gets a decent little run in the middle. But it made it less loose, less snap loose especially. So maybe it's giving these guys options to run side by side and even to pass. That's where it was for last night. And even in some of the test qualifying races that the Semi Racing Association put out, it's really hard to pass, especially around this mark of the 66 to 75 lap mark. As Challenger and Benefield get around Pataska, Ryan Matthews on the outside of him. Pataska is going the wrong direction, as maybe he used up his stuff a little too early leading the race, and he's getting ran down by all these guys. Ryan Matthews is finally going to work his way around them. Apparently Jim Caudell Jr. in second has not closed the gap in too much on Jimmy Mullis. It's still a second and a half. Cameron Hamilton's going to look on the outside of Dallas Pataska now. Pataska's going to throw down into 1 and 2. That is tight. Him and Ryan Matthews make contact. Door-to-door action going on. They both keep it going. And there's one of the great things about the new update on this car. If that was in the prior build, Ryan Matthews would have been spun sideways in the wall and all hell would have broke loose. But not this time, not this go-around. A little door-to-door action. There's no harm, no foul, and they're carrying on. As Hamilton's going to get the better of Pataska here now. Pataska's back to ninth, just like that. The guy who's led the most laps here so far tonight is falling backwards and falling fast. Tyler Price up here in the 08. He won last night in the Contender Series. He had a good piece underneath him. And he's made his way up here to 12th with Keith Meadows. David Gregorian's right there in 10th. Looks like finally, after about what seems like 25 to 30 laps, these guys were all over each other. They started to spread out a little bit. We're on lap 70 of 150. About 5 laps away from halfway. Probably got a good green flag run going in here. Let's go ahead and give you a little crank it up session as we go through the field and show different cars, and you can hear these bald eagles scream with these 550 plus horsepower V8 Super Late models. Back up front here with Jimmy Mullis, 1.6 seconds, almost 1.7 seconds out on Jim Caudell Jr. As he is leading the way and he's pulling out just a little bit, and that's what I stated. Once he gets out front, Gas doesn't usually look back. And he's extremely fast. You see him get the left sides down on the entry there, just on the yellow line, as he does there in the center as well. Hitting a couple clipping points. And yeah. I mean, he's pulling away. This dude's good, and like I said, he's a pro for a reason. Go back to second here, Jim Caudell Jr. Had some great battles, made his way up to second here. Third is your three-time series champion and Joe Schaefer Jr. He's in the number 6 Valvoline car. Normally he's with the button box shop, Lokotoko Designs. Heatweight Visual Epic Media Ford Fusion. This week with a special scheme. No, the caution is out. This is going to make things interesting to see what these guys end up doing. See if we can see what happened. Or who. Oh man, was it the 10 car of Cameron Hamilton? See what happens with him here as Patasco is behind him. Coming out of 4. He gets it just low. He gets into the wall. He keeps putting it into the wall, and Patasco just couldn't check up in enough time and spins out Hamilton. It's a tough break for Cameron Hamilton. He's running up there in the top 10. Had a good run going. Got a little bit of loose out of 4. He may have clipped those white dotted lines, which can upset the car. And these cars are kind of hard to save, especially if you get up into the wall. And that looks like what happened there. And like I said, Patasco kind of finished him off. Really didn't have anywhere to go. Unfortunate break for Cameron Hamilton. Go up the car a little bit. We'll go down pit road and have it looked at and have it serviced. We'll see if anybody pits. We'll go up here to Jimmy Mullis, see what he does here, see if he comes in or not. Clay's going to deke. Jim Caudell's going to deke. Joe Schaefer Jr. All right, there you go. Joe Schaefer Jr. is coming in. Dallas Patasco's coming in. Looks like Ty Spearman, Drew Kryback, Bill Martin, the whole posse crew's coming in. Matt Rolfe is coming in. Of course, Cameron Hamilton's going to come in and get all that fixed. So we'll have to keep an eye on these guys. Keep an eye on the posse. Bill Martin, Drew Kryback, the Wiley Vet, and Ty Spearman. Joe Schaefer Jr. will be the key guy to keep an eye on, as he was running 4th place, 3rd place when he pitted. And we'll see if he's able to make up a lot of ground. And obviously he's coming in for tires and fuel. And he should be close. I mean, extremely close on fuel at this point. He's probably banking on a couple more cautions, if I had to guess, to make it for the rest of the way. For as long as he's been in there, and he has to be taking fuel. Some of these other guys maybe just took tires so they can take fuel later on and have a quicker pit stop. Because I'm pretty sure Joe's going to have to come back down and get fuel unless the cautions play in his favor. And if they do, if he gets some quick early cautions here, making up some ground under or on the green flag restarts, because he will have fresh tires, then the cautions come out early and then they don't late. You know, some of those guys that did not pit, like Jimmy Mullis, Jim Caudell Jr., Zach Novak, Adam Benefield, Christian Challoner, who's in your top 5, they're going to be up a creek without a paddle, and they'll have to come in under green. So a little strategy here playing out. Joe probably figured that he may not have enough to beat Jimmy Mullis or Jim Caudell Jr. So he came down and pit, and he's playing his strategy, and we'll see how it ends all, you know, how the cards end up playing out. Currently, Jimmy Mullis is your leader. Just ran through your top 5. 6th is Ryan Matthews. 7th is David Kikori. And 8th is Tyler Price, who won last night. So it's good to see him up here into the top 10. 9th is Jason Tarasenko. Right out your top 10 is Jason Miller. See if we get the one to go here. Yes, we do. So 1 to go. We'll go ahead and double them up. Restart will be on Jimmy Mullis. What we will need to pay attention to as well is to see if anyone spins their tires. It happened to Bill Martin on that last restart, and it didn't go well for him. We'll see what happens with Jimmy Mullis and Jim Caudell Jr. and everyone else behind him. And, you know, it could cause a huge issue, especially with guys that have fresher tires in the back. Some of those guys that pitted before Joe most likely didn't take tires. They probably just took fuel, being that they beat him out. And Joe was in there for what seemed like forever comparative. So Matt Rolfe ended up hitting, and he's currently 12th. So he definitely did not take tires. I think Spearman did. I think pretty much the whole posse group ended up taking tires. Matt Rolfe did not. He took gas only. And he's 12th. We'll have to keep an eye on the posse group, see what they do here on this restart. As the pace car does pull off, it is on Jimmy Mullis. As we are green, 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 you see Jim Caudell Jr. spin the tires just a little bit, but gathered it up quite nicely. Going down into 1 and 2. Ron Matthews is just, he's a fish out of water right now. That thing is just tail slapping everywhere on that restart. Looks like he's getting it going, but he lost a few positions as he's fallen all the way back to 7th. Currently we're starting 5th. See if Jim Caudell Jr. is able to keep pace, or Adam Benefield is able to keep pace with Jimmy Mullis on lap 81 of 150. Still a long way to go here in this Copper World Classic. Go back here to Joe Schaefer Jr. and see what he's doing here on this restart. He was able to make good with these new fresh Hoosiers. Got Matthew Eddy right there in front of him and Tim Bills, and there's Matt Rolfe, excuse me, just in front of them, who took fuel. Not too sure if he did anything else with the spring perch and took out some wedge or not. But he's just in front of him without tires. It doesn't look like Joe's making up a ton of ground, but he probably knows that he has to save some. He cannot use them all the way up currently, as it looks like we got a battle for the lead. Going back up here to lead, Jim Caudill Jr. is under Jimmy Mullis. They're side by side out of turn 4. Jimmy Mullis is going to officially have the lead at the line. Jim Caudill Jr. throws it down into turn 1, as we can see that he's getting into the entry extremely well. He's going to give up a little bit in the center and maybe exit side by side down the back dog leg. Going into 3, Adam Benefield's wondering where he can go in all of this. We have a good battle just out of screen. Christian Challoner and Zach Novak really tight, as we're going to have a new leader in the 1 car, Jim Caudill Jr. Our 5th lead change of the night. Jimmy Mullis falls back just a little bit. Adam Benefield's going to look to get around Jimmy Mullis. Jim Caudill Jr. showing some strength here late in this run of tires and fuel. He's obviously got a great long run car. He's able to maintain pace. He may not have the outright speed with the fresh tires and fuel and all that, but as all that burns off, he's maintaining a pretty good lap time at 29.43 just that last lap. It's actually the only one in the 4s currently. Even your guy on the new tires with Joe Schaefer Jr. is running a 29.7, so he's out there putting around, figuratively speaking, on those new tires. Still green, and the field's kind of thinning out just a little bit. Top 10 really hasn't changed as far as driver-wise. Going back here to Bill Martin. The 39 car, he's getting around Joe Schaefer Jr. currently. He's probably pulling the trigger using his tires now as he's getting around Trevor Edwards, which that's for 12th. Edwards is on no tires, so he's just hanging on for dear life. Yeah, Bill Martin's catching up to Matt Rolfe in front of them. And, Bill Martin's dropping the hammer. Ran a 29.25 that last lap. By far the fastest car on the racetrack. 0.3 faster than your leader. That's passing people. So he's probably a good 4.5 tenths faster than the leader if he had an open track. Going to make short work of Matt Rolfe here. He's going to try to find a way around him without taking him out. They can't figure out which way to go. I don't think Matt's trying to block him. That's typically not his style. He's probably just going to let Bill go on the outside. Bill thought he was just going to let him go on the inside, and that's what you're seeing. So Bill Martin up to P11. Yeah, he's using it now. I mean, if this has another green flag feel to it, I mean, this thing could go green the rest of the way. It's happened here before, the Sim-Auto Racing Association, where we've had no cautions. So Bill's decided to go ahead, pull the pin, gonna go ahead and hit the home run ball, try to run these guys down as he ran a 46. The 29.46 that last lap, there was only 1 car on the track that was faster than him. That was Cameron Hamilton, who's on fresh tires as well. The leader ran a 64. As Jim Caudill Jr. hasn't necessarily pulled away from Jimmy Mullis. He's only a couple tenths up on him. The one I'm going to be paying attention to, mainly on my scoring loop here, is Joe Schaefer Jr. I'm extremely curious to see how his strategy is going to play out, being that he took tires. I mean, yeah, I guess he could have just taken fuel, but I highly doubt it as far as how long he was on pit road. And I mean, maybe he could have. I don't know. There's no way I can get official word currently, but we'll end up having to pay attention to him, or at least I will, and see what's going on, because his lap times are pretty much comparable to those around him, running 29.8s, and that takes a lot of discipline to do if you're on new tires, just going around there, just cruising around. As you can see, Bill Martin couldn't do it. He says it's go time as he's working his way up to 8th. And you can see what new tires are worth. Martin ran a 21 that last lap. He was past Price and ran a 60. Worth 4/10 in the bank, almost 5. Run lap 93 of 150 here for the Copper World Classic at Phoenix International Raceway. This is Phoenix International Raceway 08. It's the old version, roughed up as Martin's going to work his way around DK. Probably feeling like Superman right now with these new tires. Oh, you see Zach Novak get a little bit loose. Ryan Matthews gives him a little bit of a bump going down the straightaway. And these guys are battling for position for 5th. And for Bill Martin, gets a good run out of 2. Look at all that grip he's got. He's probably going to throw it here on the outside as Zach Novak if he's able to. I roll through the center extremely well. Get a good run. That's what he's going to do. Stick his nose on the outside just like that. There you go. 2 for 1. Bill Martin up to P5. It's fun watching him run up through the field on these fresh tires. Cameron Hamilton just out of screens running the same thing. That damage didn't do him, didn't hurt him at all. Hell, he ran a 29.37 that last lap. Fastest car on the track by far. Just a couple tenths faster than Bill Martin. But this is going to be all for naught if caution comes out. If caution comes out, Bill Martin might as well just alt F4 because he's going to be just left out to dry. A few other choice words would probably come from his mouth if one did come out. Team running down the leaders here. I'll probably give him about another 7 to 10 laps, and he's going to be your new leader of this race. If that. Car I've been impressed with. Been 2. Christian Challenger's one of them since he got that early EOL getting into Tyler Breeding on the opening laps. Going all the way to the back, working his way all the way back up to P4 as you see him right here as Bill Martin's going to work his way around him pretty quick. And Jim Caudill Jr. is the other one. Been fast here, worked his way up to the lead. He's still holding on to the lead, but just by about 2 tenths. And it's good to see him up front. He usually runs close to the front, but right now he's leading the way. Bill Martin ran a 29.31 that last lap. The leader ran a 29.72. So it means consistently 4 tenths, almost 5 tenths faster. As you see, Jimmy Moltz on the outside of Jim Caudill. Here it goes, pit stops. Green flag pit stops is what I'm talking about. Jim Caudill Jr. is going to get in here. He's got Ryan Matthews behind him. Zach Novak's going to go ahead and pull in. You got cars running down pit road, and this is not what you want to see if you're these guys coming down the pits. This is what you want to see if you're Matt Rolfe, who came down for gas that we know. Bill Martin came down for gas and tires as you see him just running through the field like it's no big deal. Joe Schaefer Jr., basically the whole posse crew and Ty Spearman and all of them who came down pit road to take gas. I still don't think that they're going to be able to make it all the way for those guys as Jimmy Moltz is coming down pit road. Camera won't switch over to him. There we go. And I was close on the laps. I said they were between 92, 93, I think it was, so it was a little bit off. As Tyler Price was smoking, he's still smoking it out of pit road. Bill Martin is currently your leader. We'll see if anybody else pulls off. Yep, here comes Adam Benfield's coming back down pit road in 83. I don't think anyone's got caught speeding yet, which shows you why these guys are as good as they are. This happened in the Contender Series or any other league, I guarantee you there will be some speeding penalties and some spins on the pit road, as it's easy to do, especially as you dial back the brake bias. See if Challenger ends up coming in here. I know I think he went down pit road pretty early there when he got that EOL. Could be mistaken, but I believe he did. Cameron Hamilton, he definitely went down pit road when he got in that incident there on the front stretch that you seen. He's got a little front end damage. Hasn't slowed him down any. He's matching Bill Martin's lap times. And we know that he's a little loose out too, but we know he took tires and he took fuel. Jason Tarasenko, can't remember if he pitted or not. Let's just say he did for fun. He definitely didn't take tires, just judging by his lap times. Matt Rolfe is in 5th. We know he took gas. He's getting Ryan Matthews here behind him. Matthews has come down there. We just seen Challoner, just at the bottom of the screen. He's on pit road now. And Joe Schaefer Jr., which, just judging by his lap times, he just did not take tires. More and more I'm looking at it now. I believe he did not take tires. He was in there for gas, and maybe he was running low on gas, or he didn't run as much, knowing that we're probably going to have a caution in his window that he was needed, and he just needed more fuel than some of these other guys, or maybe he made some adjustments. Who knows? Only way we'll know is if we have another caution. But right now, if you're Bill Martin, you want this thing to stay green, because you're almost 2 seconds up over Cameron Hamilton, and ain't nobody going to catch you in these next 45 laps if this thing stays green. And it's got a very long green flag feel to it. Yeah, Tim Bills is there. I guess I probably should have looked at that. So Trevor Edwards has been on pit road a couple times. Matt Rolfe has as well. There's been some other guys that have pitted more than once, but everyone's been down pit road now at least once. Not that many cars a lap down, considering top 15 are still on the lead lap. Jimmy Mullis is your first car a lap down, with Christian Challoner just behind him, just a 10th off of him, and then everyone else is a few seconds or more behind them. So interesting strategy is played out. Now, if you're Bill Martin, like I stated, he pitted, and I still don't think they have enough fuel if this thing goes green from the time that they pitted. I know it was really close. Thinking you can only get 85, 90 laps at most on fuel. And I mean, if that's the case, I mean, he's not going to make it because they came in way before that. And, you know, like I said, a caution is almost what you don't need for the guys that are on fresh tires behind you. I know if you're like Matt Rolfe or Joe Schaefer Jr., I'm guessing with Joe Schaefer Jr., Trevor Edwards, you know, if there's a caution that comes out now, you're going to be sitting pretty with some new tires, and you're going to be filling up with fuel, and you're going to be able to make it the rest of the way. No worries. The guys who just came down pit road, the leaders, they should be pretty good on fuel if they get a caution. If not, if it stays green, they're going to be short too. It's just, I still don't think that they can make it. See Zach Novak coming up here, trying to get another lap back from Bill Martin. Zach Novak's 4 laps down. He must have sped on pit road. He's 3 laps down. So that may have been one of your speeding penalties there. Nope, he's back to a lap down. I guess. It's hard to say with this. My time and scoring is all messed up here. Pat 7 lead changes here. 4 cautions. Like I said, Christian Challoner has your fastest lap at a 28.58. Ran that early on in the race. Guys weren't able to pick up any more speed after their pit stops. As the track's pretty worn in. You have thick black stripe of rubber all the way around the corners. Got 40 laps to go. Still a long race left here on this 1 mile unique shaped oval. Yeah, we'll go ahead and not too sure what happened with Ty Spearman. We've seen him go down pit road with this whole crew. And we'll go ahead and get a word with him real quick, bring him in here and see what happened. Ty, well, sorry to speak to you early on here as we're on lap 100, 150. We've seen the whole posse crew pretty much come down pit road there on their caution flag, and currently Bill Martin's leading the way. You may be able to shed a little light here on this. You know, we know Bill took tires because he's flying them through the field just based off his lap times. Joe Schaefer Jr., did he take tires, yes or no?
No.
Okay, well then I was wondering because his lap times are showing that he didn't, but I didn't know if he was just saving his stuff or not. But what happened with you? Why are you here? Why are we talking to you right now?
I got a bit loose coming off of 4. Well, that was from lap 1 to lap 100. I was loose coming off of 4. But anyway, got a little bit sideways. Just didn't hit the inside wall hard at all. And then got down into the backstretch and the motor blew up.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, it's unfortunate that that happened there with you. But, you know, that's Phoenix here. Now, we did have the patch, right? We had the patch that came out to kind of fix this car a little bit. How do you feel about that? You know, that throw you for any kind of loops for your set going into tonight?
Well, what it did for everyone's set was raise the left side ride heights. So we're really the left side ride heights as well as the toe on the car. So everybody had to go and fix that and get their car to pass tech. But also, of course, when you do that, it knocked the cross out too. So the cross was all wrong. And I was running Bill's setup. I didn't really have time to make a setup after the patch came out because my family came in town. So I was running what I had and wasn't really used to it. And this thing is a different animal altogether.
Yeah, I mean, it's based off of last night from when I was running the Contender Series. You know, it's kind of the same MO. What everyone was battling is that it was tight in the center and loose off. And I was able to run a couple of practice laps here before this session opened up, and it seemed like it kind of fixed that a little bit. But it's still kind of the same thing where it can be a little snappy loose off, as we've seen some guys get caught out of the turns and you know, smacking the wall or what have you. But I think it was a little bit better step in the right direction personally. You know, you may think otherwise, but they put on a good show so far here tonight. We've had some great battles all across the track. The cars are spread out now with different strategy going. Maybe you can shed some light into this as well, because I couldn't remember how many fuel load, 22 gallons. How many laps could you go?
Roughly, was it like 100 or so?
Was it 100? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I may be wrong. I didn't even look. I knew it was halfway. I was taking gas, and we had a caution, and I could make it. So I just filled it back up because I wanted weight in the rear of the car. So I filled it back up. Now, the one thing that you'll notice about these cars, at least with this patch, is how long it takes to put fuel in. You got to figure. You got the guys coming over the wall that's only got a 5-gallon fuel can, so they're filling it up 5 gallons at a time.
Yeah, and then that plays into it, and you know, we watched y'all come down pit road just to kind of see what happened. Like I said, Joe seemed like he was there forever. So, and you know, Matt Rolfe beat him out, and I'm pretty sure Matt filled it up to the brim, and then Joe seemed like he was just there forever. So I didn't know if he took tires or not, knowing that it takes longer to put gas in it and all that other stuff as well. So if there is a caution that comes out, I will go ahead and assume that Matt Rolfe, Joe Schaefer Jr., Dallas Pataska, and Keith Meteros will come down pit road, and others probably as well, and go ahead and take their tires. Now, we did see where Bill was a good 4 to almost 5 tenths faster than the leaders as he was working his way up through the field on fresh tires. When do you think at that point, you know, is there any point if we get a late caution here, let's say right around lap 130, 140, is that enough time for guys like Matt Rolfe and Joe Schaefer Jr. to put on tires and work their way back up to the front?
I think it depends on how many people start in front of them, because it's still hard to pass, regardless if you got fresh tires or not. I think the outside is going to be the preferred line. I think you've kind of seen that pretty much all night. But in fact, most of the passes that I were able to do tonight was on the outside. Of course, I didn't pass too many people, but it was the outside. So I think if either one of those could get I guess you could say some fast cars on the outside and not be held up, certainly in 10 laps they could get it done. But if they're starting in, you know, maybe say 8th to 10th place, no, I don't think they could get it done in 10 laps.
Yeah, so they need a caution here pretty quick. You get a caution come out right around between now and maybe lap 130. Give you probably just enough time to get up there, and you know, if you're from 8th or 9th or 10th, and get up there and get past these guys. Now that's just banking on that there's no caution after that as well, because last night, which you were admin last night, you've seen it. You know, the late in the race, the cautions breeded more cautions, and that could very well happen here once again tonight, as Bill Martin is up about 4.1 seconds over Cameron Hamilton, and and he's 12.5 seconds up over Matt Rolfe that's in third. So right now, a lot of strategy playing out, a lot of guessing game. I believe that Bill will have enough fuel to go the rest of the way here to kind of help me verify how much fuel or how many laps they can go on a fuel load. And he's on his 45th lap currently from his pit stop, so knowing that there's only 25 more laps there, he should be good to go on fuel. So if you're Bill Martin, you're wanting to see this thing go green the rest of the way.
Oh yeah, and to give it a little bit of as far as fall off goes, he's fell off about 4/10. It looks like 4/10 to a half a second from his first lap as on green, first full lap. So I don't know if Joe and those take tires, and 4/10 is a lot, but if you've got 10 people to pass in front of you, just don't see how it could happen.
I agree with you. I mean, we watched Bill come up through the field basically, and there were times where his lap times were only just a couple tenths or maybe a tenth and a half faster than the leaders, and I'm not only saying the leader, just the leading group up there. But then once he was able to, basically have a clear track and there went double file in front of him, so he had a passing lane. That's where you've seen that he was almost 5 tenths faster than those guys. He was able to pick them apart. So you're definitely going to need a passing lane if you're going to make it work. But time's running out here for the guys like Matt Rolfe and Joe Schaefer Jr. You would really hate to leave your one and only set of tires that you can have there back behind the pit wall, as we don't typically take tires here at the Sim Auto Racing Association. So you're really hoping for a caution of some type, so that way at least you can use them. Can't take them home with you. And definitely create for an exciting finish. But like I said, for your posse teammate, that's definitely not what you're wanting to see at this point. And he's just pulling away from Cameron Hamilton. And right now he's flapped down all the way up to 13th place. So it's been an interesting race so far. Like I said, there was a lot of good racing just prior to everyone pitting. We've seen some green flag pit stops as well, so that was fun to watch. And it's put on a pretty good show, believe it or not, especially for like second all the way back to 10th. At one point in time, even back to 12th, there was only a second half gap between those 10 cars. So pretty good show they put on here tonight, and surprisingly for myself, able to see that, you guys running side by side and being able to make some passes, some down low, some up high. Jim Caudell Jr. took the lead over Jimmy Mullis on the inside. And so, it can be done. It just takes a pretty good set and a lot of wheel to get by them.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting that if you look at the folks that are lapped down now, right now the lucky dog will go to Mark Royer, leaving Christian Chandler and Jimmy Mullis and DK and Caudell and Adam. There's a bunch of them that are lapped down that would not get the lucky dog.
Yeah, it's actually a very good point that you bring up. So they wouldn't get the lucky dog, and they most likely wouldn't get the wave round either, because Bill Martin's not going to pit. So they're going to be stuck a lap down there, and they're pretty much, their night's pretty much done. There's just unfortunate how some things played out there for them, but they're pretty much made their bed. They're going to lay in it, and they're not going to come away with the finish that they want. It's still to be determined here for the guys that are running 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I don't think Goddard took any tires, and neither did Bill. So, you got some guys in the top 10 that can still maybe have some things change. It's going to be interesting either way. It's part of me wants to see one so we can have an exciting finish and see how it plays out. And the other part for Bill, because I like Bill, want to see him come away with the victory here as well. But we'll see. We got 20 laps to go, coming to 19 to go as we're on lap 131 of 150. We've had 7 lead changes here tonight, 4 cautions for the Race1.US Copper World Summer Classic here at Phoenix International Raceway. And Ty, like I said, it was an unfortunate break there for you, but next week you got a bull ring, Oxford Plains Speedway. How do you think that's going to end up playing out with this new set?
I don't know. It'll be, as I said during my interview during qualifying last week, really, I think you take what you learned at Phoenix and you throw it out the window. Completely way different track. I will be interested to see how this car turns on the short track. Here's just so different, and they're carrying so much speed, and there is just really, honestly, all about finessing and easy on the throttle, and really not using a lot of brake at Oxford.
No, you don't. You definitely roll the corners more than anything else. With the added horsepower on these cars, it's your drive off, I think, is going to be extremely key there, because you run a ton of gear as is. You're on the limiter pretty early and often. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these cars do handle, as you stated. And I doubt, like you said, anything is going to carry over, as you got the high speeds here at Phoenix as they're clipping out right around 157 mile an hour on fresh tires going into the turns. And we'll be lucky to probably see 110 going into the turns at Oxford Plains. So come with us or check us out next week at SARA TV. Go over to YouTube and subscribe. Catch us next week. You see these same guys do battle at a little bull ring at Oxford Plains, and if it gets a green flag run, that track widens out pretty good as well. Coming down here to 15 to go. Bill Martin still leading the way. Right now, Donald Clark is your lucky dog. Christian Challenger's doing everything he can to stay in that lucky dog spot. The problem is that Bill Martin keeps coming up to the guys at the tail end of the field, putting guys a lap down. Still got some distance between Bill Martin and Russell Berry there. Russell Berry's running 12th. Good run for him tonight. Drew Kryback's running 11th. Matthew Eddy in 10th. So good runs for those guys. Kryback, that's what he needed. It was a good little run here tonight. So it's good to see him running towards the front. He played the strategy right. Did any of you all take tires besides Bill Martin when you went down pit road?
Nope. I guess I wish now I would have.
Well, it's either you would have looked like a hero like Bill Martin, or if a caution or something happened, and then you would have been on the other foot. So that's just the way it goes sometimes, and how the strategy plays out. You just never know.
Yeah, and Bill said about, I don't know, maybe 45 laps in, he said this set is junk. And he actually fell back. I passed him, and he's let me on by. And as you can see, I mean, I really think this set came in. I won't say it was the best set out there tonight, but strategy-wise, that was, if there's no caution, it was brilliant.
Well, you got to do something different than what the leaders are doing, especially if you don't have the best piece underneath you that night. We know Bill Martin can get it done. He can get it done in this car and some other cars, but it's like you said, it may not have been the best set tonight, but the best strategy is going to play out as it appears as of right now, as we got 12 to go. And sometimes that's what it takes. We see that in all series and real life racing. It plays out that way, where the best strategy will come through when you don't have the best car. And the best car doesn't always win. We know that. And he may come away and steal a victory per se, but we still got some time left.
Trevor saved a great save by Trevor.
Trevor Edwards apparently got sideways. We'll go up here and take a look at him. He's with the Dynamic Auto Sports Group, the Race1.us on the side of his car. So they're sponsoring a few cars here tonight, along with the race. So appreciate them coming on board and doing what they're doing for the series. Puts Trevor Edwards back to 12th. Still can come out with the top 10 finish. Need to speak to him about his wheels, though. His wheel choice color is not good. Not that it's going to matter too much, but Bill Martin's starting to he's got caught by Christian Challenger here. Challenger's going to unlap himself, which is huge. It could potentially be huge. It's 9 to go, and Bill Martin does a smart thing, just let him go. What's the I guess you would call the breaking point here? If they get a caution, when is the race going to be called? Was it probably with 4 to go? Anything from 4 to go and under, it'll pretty much call the race at that point. I'll finish under yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got cars lap down, so it'll be about 4 laps of caution.
Yep. So if you're Bill Martin, you're looking for the 6 to go spot, and then the next flag after that pretty much will end the race. You just hope you're not that flag that causes it, but he's out here rolling around. He's got plenty of room behind him. He's up by 11.6 seconds over Cameron Hamilton. Matt Rolfe is, well, it's Bill Martin let him go, but Matt Rolfe is go are running some decent lap times still on their old tires. And it's, you know, down there in the 95s. Flats isn't terrible for, you know, 142 laps on them. Bill's just a shade faster. He's got newer tires, but he used them up too.
Yeah, when I went in, my tires were showing 78 on the right front, 76 on the right rear. So I'm sure Joe's and Matt's tires are screaming at this point.
Yeah, they're down in the maybe in the 50s potentially, which is huge. That's a lot of tire wear. They didn't have that on the last build. If you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like the tires did not wear down that much, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think now, I mean, as you said, you're pushing you're, I guess, fighting a tight in the center. You see just about everybody run up the track in the middle of the corner and then basically bring it back down off the corner. So I think we're carrying, at least at this track, a lot of speed in. The car does not want to turn, and when it finally does turn, it wants to over-rotate. So you're cooking both of them on the right side.
Yeah. Yeah, using them up. Now we're starting to use the left front a little bit more, which is good to see. And oddly enough, for our sets and the T4X, the left rear is almost the same as the right rear, especially temperature-wise. But even wear, it's just a little bit behind the right rear. So, you know, we're getting something that's working on the left side of the car more so than what it used to. As we're down to 5 laps to go. If you're Bill Martin, you're almost at the point of no return. And want to see this thing just go green. You got some guys that are battling up here, but pretty much minding their P's and Q's for the rest of the way. Bill Martin can almost coast from here and end up finishing. He's got a posse teammate there in front of him, Drew Kryback, and sure Drew will give him plenty of room. And don't know if he's got any spotter in his ear as he does on Wednesday nights, but if they are, they're probably telling him to move over and don't do anything dumb.
Actually, I'm sure Bill's just probably going to follow him.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time and plenty of cushion behind him to, you know, he can run, at this point, he can pretty much run 3 seconds off the pace and still win the race, so. See, Drew Kryback's just a little bit loose there in front of him. We've got 3 to go. Coming to 2 to go here. Bill Martin. Then we have 7 lead changes for 4 cautions. Bill Martin's led 59 laps. Led just a shade over a third of the race. Looks like he's going to come away with the victory here as long as everything holds out for him on the car and he makes no mistakes, which he shouldn't. Coming down to a white flag with 1 to go. He may not like the car, may not like the setup, but you'll take a win however you can get it. It don't matter. A win's a win. They go down into 3 and 4 here. He's just going to hang in behind these 2 guys, and Russell Berry and Drew Kryback. Bill Martin coming out of turn 4 will be your winner here tonight at the Copper World Classic for the Race1.us Copper World Summer Classic. Congratulations to Bill Martin. We'll go back here to Cameron Hamilton. We got plenty of time to get to him. He's going to make his way out of turn 4. Coming home in 2nd. 3rd place, Matt Rolfe. 4th place, Joe Schaefer Jr. And rounding out your top 5 will be Dallas Pataska. But Bill Martin comes away with the victory here tonight, leading 61 laps out of 150. He played the strategy, rolled the dice, went in, took his fuel, took his tires. We watched him work his way up through the field at a rapid pace. And no cautions came out. And like I say, played the strategy right, came away here with a huge win on this new build. And, you know, like I said, you'll take them how you can get them. And, of course, for the posse guys, I'm sure they're all going to cheer him on. Spearman, you're probably giving him a good little pat on the back or whatnot. And he's also the guy that, he sponsored a couple of races here for us, and he's our entrance and exit music that we always play here at SARA TV. So thank you for him to that. And good win here for Bill. He's going to go ahead and take the Polish victory lap, it looks like. He's waving to everyone now that they're not all flat and looking the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting. One of our last cautions, if I'm not mistaken, was Cameron Hamilton, and I mean his car's junk.
Yep.
But he took tires when he came in to get his his damage fixed. So that just goes to show how much new tires meant with him finishing second with a car that was destroyed.
Yeah, he did. His front end of his car is tore all to hell and bent up and everything, and apparently he didn't hurt the suspension too much. But he was early on in that run after taking tires, he was running pretty much the same lap times as Bill Martin. Now his car ended up falling off, probably due to the damage, and maybe a little bit of setup as well. But he was running good here tonight. He was running up into the top 10 and everything when that happened, coming down the front stretch, and he smacked the wall, and Pataska kind of got into him there on accident. But yeah, he comes away with a great second place battling back there after that wreck, and we'll get to talk to him here in just a little bit about it if he hops over here into SARA TV TeamSpeak, because we're waiting for these guys to get out of their cars and hop over to TeamSpeak so we can interview them. While we're waiting, we'll go ahead and bring up the results for tonight's race. We'll go through them here real quick if I can click the right button. As I stated, your winner here tonight is Bill Martin. Second, Cameron Hamilton. Third, Matt Rolfe. Fourth, Joe Schaefer Jr. Those guys are probably wondering what if game is if the caution came out and what would happen if they were able to use their tires. Fifth was Dallas Pataska, who was on a roller coaster ride, it seemed like tonight. He kind of started fourth or fifth here tonight, made his way up to the front, started falling to the back, finished fifth here tonight. Keith Metterell's coming out with a good top 10 finish in sixth. Tim Bills in seventh. Matthew Eddy in eighth. Christian Challoner, who came back in ninth. I mean, just a great top 10 for him. He got that early EOL when him and Tyler Breeding got into it, made his way back up to third, I think as high as third or second before he had to come down pit road and finish ninth. And then Jimmy Mullis, who rounds out your top 10. Looks like we have a couple guys here waiting. We'll go ahead and grab Cameron Hamilton up there, pull him on down, see if we can get a word with him, talk to him how his race went. Cameron, we see that you come away in second place here tonight. You had a little incident there on the front stretch, tore up your car a little bit, but man, you battled back for a great second place finish here. Why don't you tell us how your night went and, if you're excited or whatnot? It was a great run for you.
Yeah, I ended up actually wrecking myself on the front stretch there about halfway through the race. I bounced off the wall and I tried to correct it and ended up coming, I think, right up in front of Dallas's nose. That was entirely my fault. And during that caution, I decided to pit and take tires, and I actually didn't take enough fuel. I had been saving fuel for like 20 laps trying to get some back in it, and just barely finished it. When I crossed the start finish line, I think it said I had 0.1 gallons left. Mm-hmm. It was close.
Yeah, well, you cut it close there, and me and Ty were talking here about, you and Bill Martin took tires, and obviously you finished 1-2 here tonight. You're running comparable lap times to him early on, so it seems like that damage didn't hurt the car too much. If you did have to save fuel, do you think you maybe could have kept pace with Bill there in the longer runs, or is it just with the damage it just hurt the car a little too much?
I really don't think I could have competed with him there at the end. After that pit stop and after the wreck, the car was just really tight. Early in the race, I felt pretty good, and I was actually a little bit looser, and then after I pitted, the car just ended up being super tight. I don't think I really had anything for him there at the end.
Well, you ran well here tonight. I mean, you're running there in the top 10, and it's some up towards the top 5 at one point, if I'm not mistaken, before that incident there on the front stretch. Same thing that happened to you happened to me last night. So, I mean, it's easy to do here, especially with the new build. But congratulations on your second place finish. Is there any shout outs you'd like to give here before we get you on your way and you celebrate your top 3?
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody at the association. Jim Cottle Jr., Tyler Price, Tyler Breeden, Chalmers Parker. Chalmers was on top of the box tonight, and he gave us a good race car. I hope we can come back next week and have another good run. Big fan of this build that they fixed this morning. So, and thank you to you all for broadcasting, and thank you to Matt for putting this league on. One competitive league.
That it is, and it puts on a good show. And like I said, congratulations to you once again for your second place finish. We'll keep an eye on it out for you for next week, and we'll catch you at Oxford Plains, bud.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you as well. Second place finisher in Cameron Hamilton. Currently, we got Matt Rolfe in here who finished third. Should have grabbed him first, but just didn't have my wits together. And Matt, you come away with the third place finish here tonight. We seen you come down pit road there under that caution, and I would guess that you took fuel only at that point in time. Can you, before I go on, did you only take fuel?
Yeah, just fuel only. I had pitted a couple times earlier in the race just to grab fuel and took tires around that halfway, or not tires, sorry. Just took fuel at that halfway mark too. Just trying to make sure I had enough fuel to the end, and so I'm going to take tires later on.
Well, unfortunately, later on didn't happen, and you weren't able to take tires at that point. So you're just out there on the old stuff, and it was with you and Joe Schaefer and a couple other guys behind you. If there was a caution that did come out, me and Spearman spoke about this, in depth. If the caution came out and you come down and take tires, do you think you would have enough time to make your way up there and grab you a win?
I think I would have had a chance. I know Joe was probably just as fast or maybe faster on the short runs. And my car seemed to kind of it leveled off after a certain amount of laps and kind of just stayed even for a while. So it would have been nice to at least try. The two cars in front of me that finished first and second, they had tires from that halfway point on. We didn't. And obviously you saw a bunch of guys that had to go down pit road during green with the wrong strategy there as far as not getting fuel earlier. So it would have been interesting to see how it played out, but I'm happy as hell with a third place finish. Especially after not getting tires all race, I wouldn't have thought that I'd be third after that.
Yeah, well, it's, we've seen multiple strategies happen throughout the race, and yours just so happened to play out a little bit better than others, but not as good as Cameron Hamilton and Bill Martin. So, but congratulations on the third place finish. We're going to Oxford Plains Speedway next week. Your favorite track by far. So what are you looking forward to there?
I'm looking forward to hopefully some green flag runs. That track over the last couple of seasons, once we do get those green flag runs, it tends to develop an outside groove or even a third groove at some point. So, I don't think too many of us have probably run many laps there so far. Everyone's been kind of focusing on Phoenix, but now we shift back to the short tracks. So I think we'll see a lot of guys in testing and sessions here next week or so before that race. And I'll be doing some of my own testing there. I had a pretty good setup before the build changed, and hopefully I can get some of that back. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely keep an eye out there for you next week, as we know you like to run there, and you run well there. And congratulations on your third place, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Yep. As the league admin, Matt Rolfe, coming away in third place here tonight. Strategy kind of kept him out there from in the winner's circle. Currently filling that void in the winner's circle is Bill Martin. Bill, congratulations on your win here tonight in the Race1.US Copper World Summer Classic at Phoenix International Raceway. You played the strategy there under that caution that came out about halfway or so, and you came in for tires, and we've seen you just take off like a rocket and head towards the front. Strategy ended up playing out there for you, but were you concerned that maybe another caution would come out and then you'd just be pretty much screwed at that point?
Yeah, I was lucky as all get out. When I heard Trevor, someone said to Trevor, come on, Trevor, save it, Trevor. I went, all right, my race is over. But he ended up saving it, luckily. And, but yeah, if there was a caution that came out, considering I'm not a points racer in this division, because I'm not here every week, I would have just had myself put to the back of the field. So my only chance of winning was if it stayed green, and lo and behold, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, you're flying up through the field. We watched you come up through the field, and I mean, there's times where you're half second faster than the guys in front of you. So you're making the moves and getting around them. And it ended up playing out for you and Cameron Hamilton, who came away in second. He took tires as well, but you were out there just kind of cruising around, just on cruise control. We seen that you kind of hung back behind your teammate there and Drew Kryback there later, knowing that you had the cushion. Were you good to go on fuel as well there later on in that late run?
Yeah, when we went down, we ended up taking, I think all of us ended up taking a full tank. So that's why Joe stayed out. And I assume Spearman probably did the same thing. Sorry, Spearman, that I hit you.
Sorry.
But no, there was no worries about fuel. And yeah, when we got to the last few laps, I finally really bothered to look and see where I was in ratio to everybody else, because I knew the gap was big. I thought I was the only one that took tires. I didn't realize that Cameron did as well. And it's funny, the first run, the car was terrible. And that's why I ended up just dropping to the bottom of the track and getting behind to about 15th place. Because, again, I'm not points racing, so I figure if my car's running like crap, I'll just go behind everybody and, maybe the pits will work out, or if they don't, at least I'm not in anybody's way. But when we came to the pits, I changed tire pressures because I thought that I might have had them too high for the first run, and I think that's why the car was really crappy the first run. So I dropped them and then went back out and just took it easy while passing. I did most of the passing while everybody was still sort of competing against each other for positions. And that's, according to Ty Majeski, the only time to do it. So I went for it there, but took it really easy on the tires just in case there was going to be another yellow quick. And, there's that much of a discrepancy in the tires with like 50 laps to none. There's just no reason to really go hard. And I didn't even realize Cameron took tires, and he was faster than me the first run. So I'm pretty lucky that the car ended up working as good as it did the second run.
Yeah, y'all were comparable early on. He stated he had to start saving fuel because he didn't put enough fuel in it there for that last run, and he also had some damage because he was the cause of that last caution on the front end. But he didn't think he had anything for you anyways, because you're running some pretty good lap times there. You end up leading 61 laps here tonight. We're heading into Oxford Plains Speedway next week for the HoddsPride.com 150. And as I stated in prior chats before, there's someone, once that track widens out, it seems like you end up going towards the top and making it work around there. A, are we going to see you there next week? And B, if we are, what do you look forward to in that track?
A, I look forward to not being there because I won't be there. I actually would like to be there because the way the track is now, it's more like the real world, according to Matt, who goes there all the time. And he's right. He showed me videos, and it's the one track where the new version of the dynamic track actually makes sense for the super lates. So to me, it's exciting. It's really taxing to drive that track for a long period of time, though. So in another way, I'm not too bummed about missing it. But it should be exciting. I think the posse is going to have something decent to run with. If I remember right, last time it was the 40 car that really dominated the field. So
it was.
So hopefully this time we can get Joe and Spearman to dominate the field instead.
Well, we'll see how it ends up playing out there for the posse group. Before we get you on your way back to Victory Lane to celebrate, is there any shout outs you'd like to give, or any special thanks?
Thanks to Majeski for explaining a bunch of different parts to the setup. It worked great before they changed the car again today. Joe seems to think the setup was working really well. He was doing really well with it. I was terrible in it, but Joe's a better driver, so we're gonna go with what he says. So big thanks to him, and thanks to Spearman. He also put in some time trying to get this thing to work beforehand, because again, it changed and everything was all goofy, and we had to go to work, so we had very little time to get ready. So thanks to the team.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again for winning here tonight, and maybe we'll see you here in the next few races coming up and see if you can put it back on the top box again.
Hoping so. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was your winner, Bill Martin. Coming away with a huge victory here tonight, like I said, leading 61 laps in the Race1.US Copper World Summer Classic here at Phoenix International Raceway. Now, Ty, you joined us up here late in the booth. You had your issues yourself, unfortunately. And like I said, next week we're at OPS. And before we get you on your way, is there any final words or anything you'd like to say?
Well, I know that I'm not overly happy with the build, but at the end of the day, I think it's just something we got to learn. Um, there are some issues, I believe, with the car that eventually it'll kind of get tweaked. I think Majeski is going to make a point to get in and voice his opinion, and his opinion is certainly valued on the Alpha side. So I believe that with a little bit more input with him, I think we can expect some better things out of the car as far as how it drives. So maybe there'll be some more changes down the road as we get, as we get more used to the car and this build, and maybe some additional changes that will be put in. I think there's a few things that do need to be changed. So, but for the most part, honestly, it's just going to be a learning curve for everyone. It was for me tonight, certainly.
It is, and for me, it's an interesting learning curve, to be honest. And they're a handful to drive, but they're fun in the same aspect. And if there's anyone that you're going to listen to as far as how super late models should feel and drive, it's going to be Tom Majeski. If it's for the midget car, you're going to go to Christopher Bell. For other things, for a Cup car, you may go to Kyle Larson and so forth, right? We have guys on this service that race these cars enough to know how they should be. They sponsor Majeski, so one would think that they would listen to him and maybe iron a couple of things out. I think they're heading in the right direction with it. I think we can agree with that, even though it's not perfect. But it'll get there in due time. And like I said, we got some interesting, smart people, fast guys that race in this league. They'll figure out a set to get these things to work their way around the track and be fast one way or the other. But we'll see how and what everyone comes up with next week for Oxford Plains Speedway. Ty, thanks for joining me up in here in the booth, man. I appreciate it. You're welcome up here anytime. Hopefully not in these type of circumstances, more so when I'm speaking to you when you finish in the top 3.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better experience. A little bit more of a celebration instead of me Chernobyl in my engine.
Well, better luck next time potentially, and we'll hopefully catch you next week there, bud.
Sounds great. Thanks.
And it's Ty Spearman joining us up here in the booth after a late incident there. We'll go ahead and bring up the series sponsors here, give them a little bit one more shout out. Like I said, without our SARA partners, we cannot do this. We cannot do the SARA TV, and with the prize money and stuff like that as well to give out to these guys for putting on great action and make it a little bit more prestigious for this league. Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors this league here tonight, or the Super Series here tonight that you're watching. Davis Chassis Works for our Wednesday night Contender Series League. The Hides Pride Leather and Sheepskin, been with us forever, it seems like. They did the Throwdown Challenge, which didn't speak to on that. It looks like Jimmy Mullis came away with the victory on that, so he's going to have a little bit of extra coin put in his pocket by night's end for finishing ahead of Zach Novak. Midwest Power Source Inc., Callaway Investments, who's our Tuesday night Sportsman Series, the Street Stocks series sponsor. Race1.us sponsored some cars here tonight, sponsored the race here tonight, and for qualifying night last week, thank you to them. Canadian Rail Serve, The Hub at Used Racing Giveaways, Lokotoko Designs, who's painted plenty of cars that you've seen out here tonight, Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series, and the East-West Modifieds. So that'll wrap things up here tonight. Like I said, I'm your host, Derek Robinson. Producers, Clay Snyder. You are watching SARA TV, and please come back with us next week for the HidesPride.com 150, where we'll do 150 laps of battle at Oxford Plains Speedway in that late afternoon race. If you like what you've seen here tonight, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Go to Facebook at SimAutoRacingAssociation.com. Hit that follow and like button on there, and you'll get all the updates that goes on with the league and with the broadcast. That'll do it for us tonight. Me and Clay are going to go hop into the SARA TV van, make our way over to Oxford Plains. We'll see you then.